Well, Deku vs. Asta just released, and, well, it was definitely an episode. What do I mean by that? Well, let's find out. First off, I want to apologize to anything I said about My Hero Academia fans in the last video, as I found that Black Clover fans are infinitely saltier than anything My Hero fans have ever said or done. Just this thread here proves it. And if you know, you know. This makes the first time in a while where I actually changed who I was rooting for during the waiting period of this episode. So, yeah. But anyways, how was Deku vs. Asta? Well, it was good. That is about the most I have to say on it, really. I have a feeling this review is going to be a little short, as I don't have much to say on this one. Also, because I'm working on another video right now, and I want to get that done. But anyways, let's just get into it, because I don't know what else needs to be said here. Starting off with the analyses, they're really good. Not perfect, but I thought they did their jobs well. They were pretty fun to watch. Were not boring, and explained the characters' personalities and abilities really well. I liked the locker joke, despite it being kinda overplayed. The cutaway gags for both were pretty good. And I like how they ended both analyses and talked about their respective rivalries and how they work. Overall, just really solid rundowns. Don't have much else to say here, honestly. I just think that they're good. Now, let's just get to the fight. It starts in a huge stadium with the two fighting for a title, and we see Deku's sprite, which looks kind of weird, not gonna lie. Something about the skin being a bit too pink and how skinny his arms and legs are look kind of off, but overall it's still a pretty good model. It's just something you have to get used to, because in some shots it looks really good and helps with his quick, swift nature. So I think making this sprite look like this works out. Asta's sprite also looks really good. Kind of weird that they went with the manga design for Deku and the anime design for Asta, or at least that's what I heard they did, but it doesn't really matter. I also like the dialogue the two have, with Deku having a whole inner monologue about how he's going to beat Asta, while Asta goes, "I just gotta hit him really hard." That was pretty funny. The voice actors here also did an incredible job. Jose Estrada easily gets down the determined yet slightly voice-cracky voice of Deku, especially in his analytical and intense moments. And Michael Kovac does a great job as Asta. I love the way he portrays him. And there are multiple lines of his that stuck out with me. Both of them did a fantastic job here. The fight actually starts with a neat little cameo of SpongeBob vs. Aquaman at the top of the screen as some buildings rise up, which thank God they did, cause Deku works best in a fight where he has an environment to jump all around. We get a really good bit of action as Deku flies across the battlefield and springs off Asta. Asta then says the line that pissed off Black Clover fans for some reason and catches Deku as he hits him away. We then get a really clean and well-animated shot of Asta pulling out another sword and comboing Deku into a building. Yeah, this fight has some really good bits of animation in here, and this is a great example of that. I just love how smooth it feels in the first shot and then quick and swift it is in the next. It's just satisfying, you know? We get a pretty funny line from Deku as he is wondering why the sword didn't cut him before he gets out of there and assesses the situation. Deku jumps up in the air as Asta goes full Zoro and wields 3 swords with one in his mouth and hits Deku with all of them. We then get the Black Whip, which doesn't look the greatest. Capsirus mentioned how it looks weird because in the show it has that little green outline with the solid center, but here it just doesn't. And it looks like a Venom symbiote, to be honest. I don't know why, it's just kind of off-putting. But it's saved by a really funny line from Asta as he's bewildered that Deku is even doing this without any magic, with a small little inner self part after, which does bring you back to reality, as he's wondering if he'll even be worthy of Wizard King if he can't beat this guy. A line which I really like for some reason. I don't know. Maybe it's because it gives Asta some personal stakes in this fight? I don't know. I just think this is when Asta finally realizes he needs to start taking things more seriously. Maybe that's it, but who knows. Deku pulls out the Detroit Smash and gets Asta's swords away from him. We then get 3 consecutive Detroit smashes from Deku as Asta pulls out the Demon Slasher and just doesn't use it as Deku keeps hitting him for some reason. This scene did kind of drag on for a little bit as Deku keeps doing the attack over and over again, but that's more a nitpick than anything. Deku steals the Grimoire and then does one final Detroit smash to give it his all with a pretty great line delivery. The hit feels like it lasts slightly too long. It just feels like they're sitting there waiting for something to happen. Like, maybe they could have just cut it off a bit earlier, but it's no big deal really. Just like most other complaints here, it's just a nitpick. Asta finally decides to actually use his sword to cut the whip and transform into a super mode. We then get one of my favorite lines in the fight where Asta explains that he doesn't even know what Detroit is, but that he's had enough of it. That got me and my friends laughing. That's just such a random line that I was not expecting Asta to say, but I love it so much. We get another great line delivery from Asta's voice actor, and this weird looking running animation from Deku, some more combos, Asta gets hit into nothing, Deku pulls a Spider-Man, and then we're on to the climax. Deku has one last inner monologue telling himself that there is no use strategizing anymore, and that he, just like Asta, has to go all out and just has to hit really hard to win. And we get an amazing sequence of him going 1,000,000% charge to fully give it his all into a final punch as he brings out the courage of All Might and every other wielder of One For All to do his best and prove himself. And Asta doesn't back down. We get this astonishing hand-drawn shot of Liba as Asta gives it his all into his final attack. The two make contact as Asta falls to the ground. Deku believes that he actually did it until he realizes the music is still playing and whoops, it's a fake out, sorry buddy. 3 swords stab Deku in the back, finishing him off for good in this, frankly, kind of sad death as Asta gives the best line in the whole animation by telling Deku to quote-unquote, "Take that, Detroit." Comedy gold. And hell, we get an even funnier bit right after where we get a cameo from the GOAT Hercule Satan as the announcer says that he will be who Asta is fighting next. And after seeing what Asta just did, Hercule gets the hell out of there as fast as he can. I love that he's even still wearing the jetpack and that the announcer is voiced by Nick, who played the announcer in Hercule vs. Dan. I love this callback to an earlier episode. I can't wait for the Season 10 premiere Asta vs. Hercule Satan Black Clover vs. Dragon Ball. Anyways, that was the animation. Initially I thought it was pretty middle of the road, but now I actually think it's very solid. There were plenty of moments of small nitpicks, but nothing stuck out as outright bad. It was just overall solid. In all, I'd give the episode about an 8 out of 10. With me bringing Sauron vs. Arthas up to a 9 out of 10 because that episode has done nothing but grow on me for the past 2 weeks. And we can't forget talking about the track. Strongest Alive is such a bop. It's not on the same level as Hedge of Tomorrow or some of my other favorite music pieces of this season, but it still goes hard. I love how it calls back to Mighty and also apparently Marvel for All as well, which are both god tier. Mighty is one of my favorite tracks from Death Battle, 1 for nostalgia and 2 for just being so good. And Marvel for All is just overall really good. But Strongest Alive is good in its own right as well. I love how high octane it is and how it fits with the characters in fight. Just overall really good. And there you go. Yes, I know that was a pretty short review, but I feel like I've said what I needed to say. And if I didn't, I can mention it in my Season 9 retrospective where I'm going to have to rank Season 9. Oh boy, that's gonna be hard. But speaking of Season 9, guess it's time we talk about that Season 9 finale reveal. Okay, so Vegito versus Gogeta. Not gonna lie, kind of disappointed me at first. I was expecting something a lot different, something more interesting, something that introduces 1 or 2 new series. Not yet another Dragon Ball fight making that series have its 3rd episode of the season, on top of it being a same series match, and one that we just got with a DBX a year ago. Sure, there is a lot to be mad about with this episode, but after taking some time to think about it, I'm not all that disappointed about it anymore. From what the team has been saying, it's going to be something really special. And also, we know that Daidomachi is animating it, so we already know it's going to be good. The only true thing bringing it down for me is that it's the Season 9 finale. I wouldn't have minded it that much if it took any other slot of this season. I wouldn't even mind it if it was the Season 10 premiere. But there is no real point in complaining. The episode is on its way. No amount of whining or anything is going to change that. So I'm just going to sit back, relax, and enjoy the finale of this amazing season of the show. And also to see the only time Goku will ever get a W on the show. Can't wait to see what's in store for it. Also, apparently they're compositing both characters, which means things are about to get pretty crazy in the debate side of things. So that's always fun. And also who is going to be revealed for Season 10. Going to be having some major speculation about that. Anyways, like I said earlier, there is another video I'm working on that I want to get done, so I'm just going to end the script here. I'm hoping to have it out this weekend so I can start out on the little Christmas video I really want to do, but we'll just have to see. Thank you guys for watching, and I will be seeing you all in the next one. Oh, and check out Capsirus' video and my reaction in the description. Okay, bye.
I did it!
You can't have shit in Detroit.